Hi, welcome to the Market Alert for Friday, the 25th of October 2019. So, despite Bitcoin's drop this week, Galaxy Digital to launch 2 new Bitcoin funds in November, which could be very lucrative. If you think about it, the price of Bitcoin is being marked down. And of course, the lower it goes, the better the risk-reward deal. And then if and when prices move back to the upside and go back to all-time highs, it could be well worth a punt as far as these sort of funds are concerned. So, what on the face of it looks like, you wouldn't touch it. There are institutions out there at the moment that are building up huge funds for a play in the Bitcoin crypto market. So all positive stuff once you peel away the negative layers there. If we have a look at yesterday, the market isn't doing a lot, as I said before. We had this drop where we took out all of the lows that we had marked up, and the market's been sideways. You can see yesterday, and this is why we're staying out at the moment, because it's just has these odd days of spikes, and then we get nothing, and that's what it's doing at the moment. And if you look at the 4-hour chart, you'll see precisely what I mean there. There's the participants have disappeared after they've had some sort of big player come into the market. I think they call them whales in the crypto sphere, move the market to the downside, and now it's trading sideways. And again, you can see this yesterday between these two red lines is only $100 in range, so not a lot going on there. Meanwhile, in other markets, stocks and bonds shrug, and gold and dollar jump amid worst macro malaise in over 2 years. Well, we've not really had that much news this week, but certainly when you look at the Dow, I'll just bring up the Dow and go to the daily chart. You'll see that we're sideways here as well. But as I said in Monday's Market Alert, there's no news this week apart from Super Mario's last stand yesterday, which we'll come to a bit later. The market's still above the 20-bar moving average at the moment, but in a defined sideways range there. And you can see this yesterday as well. The market was up in the pre-market session, but as soon as the cash market opened, prices then moved to the downside there, and then found support once they gone through the 200 MA. You can see the market being tested in all of these blue bars here before eventually getting a bit of a reprieve and pulling back there to the 200 MA. And then overnight, this has been like a magnet, the market just holding it until it's broken through here and above the DP. So a bit of strength coming back into the market there at the moment. How much it's got, who knows. But today, have we any news to move the market? No. So there's nothing today either. So the market's going to have to make its own direction, as it were. Talking of no direction, Brexit is still having an impact on the pound, stuck in a sideways range and under a bit of pressure as well, of course, because of the indecision. Watch the 200 MA in the daily chart if you get a shakeout to the downside, because that will be a crucial area. Yesterday we can see this weakness, the market above the 200 MA before things kicked off at 7. Market tried to move higher, stopped at the R1, and then we can see the selling coming into the market and eventually breaking the 200 MA. The market traded sideways at the DP level, then broke back through to the previous day's high, and then once we got back through, we just sold off to the downside there. So some weakness there, and you can see prices being bought back at this level, trading sideways and trying to get back towards the DP level at the moment. But when you look at the daily chart, the 200 MA there is going to be crucial, and it's looking weak as well. You've got lower highs in the market there as well. Meanwhile, in the implied volatility, this moving lower, as you'd expect, the market's sideways, and as I've always said and will say again, the lower this goes, the bigger the correction will be, and there is going to be a correction in this market, there's no doubts about that. The Santa rally that we normally see from this time of year is missing at the moment, still could come in. but it's going to take some, half decent news and I think a few more Trump tweets to move the market back to the highs. And there you can see the implied moving back there pictorially. And the 10-year remains a normal market now, albeit that we're seeing, if I just zoom in there, although we can see that we have got a bit of lower highs even in the 3 month and 10-year cross there in the Treasury bonds. And then finally, let me just show you this. The first thing is that yesterday was Super Mario's last day, and you can see that they were out yesterday. I mean, they were trolling him from the US all over the world, saying that the negative rate experiment, if you will, around the world has effectively not worked, and this goon wants to send rates further south as well. They're doing everything they can to keep everything afloat. And then if you go down here, I think, if I remember rightly, and you can see here they look back at this legacy, and it will be a legacy as well, as Draghi leaves Europe in recession. That's what I've been keep going on about. You don't have to worry about Brexit if you're a leaver, because this financial experiment and political experiment is imploding on itself anyway. As you can see there, the ECB with no more ammo, and his successor facing an unprecedented revolt. That's the convicted criminal, Christine Lagarde. Can't wait to see what she's going to do from the 1st of November. As a revolt across the ECB's governing council, then nobody's happy with what they're doing as far as the economics are concerned, and sending rates into negative territory. Even Denmark are now are paying you to have a mortgage. Can't be bad, can it? So there you go. It looks like we've got an election coming in, does it? Sterling stock slammed as Johnson calls for fresh election on December the 12th. Blimey. That's an interesting one. So we'll see whether he's allowed to or not. I did hear that they were trying to reduce the vote to 16 as well to help the Remainers. It's amazing how many tricks can be pulled and changes if you want something badly enough. Right, that will do it for this one. If there is anything to report, I'll let you know. Like I say, no news today. See what happens, how the market's going to pick its own direction today, but I would expect to be fairly quiet unless something big comes out of nowhere. I noticed that the overnight repo has gone up to 135 billion now. It's some serious money. This is not loose change by any means, and it's not being reported by the mainstream. Of course, they won't until it all collapses, and then it'll be like as if it came out of nowhere. But this has been going on since September, when the Fed said it was going to be temporary, and now we're way out to January. It's not temporary, it's permanent. Okay, that'll do it for this one. As ever, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.